Okay, so I'm Mark, and
I'm Misty.
and so we kind of doing something a little different here at Mark's Racing Engines now since Garrett left. So he moved on to girls. So anyway, today what we're gonna do, we're gonna do some. See, this is my old raggedy farm truck, and it's served me well since it was brand new in 1987. But the alternator has kind of well, it's just dead. So, being said, I don't want to spend no money on this truck because it's the farm truck. We are going to put an LS style alternator on it, and if you see here, what we got here, oh wait, you know what? I'm going to do this like this. I'm not a professional video guy. I think I can turn this camera around, can I?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Okay, so deal with it. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to put the LS style on there, and the problem is the spacer on the bottom, you got to kind of cut it down a little bit. But now the other problem is this. I need to, make a bracket of some sort so that I can tighten her up. And then I got to do the wiring, but I'll show you that in a minute. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'll come back whenever we've made the bracket and show what we're going to do there. So I made our little bracket, and it's nothing more than a piece of angle iron, and I just notched it out for the circumference of the alternators. And then after I got that notch, I heated it up and put the bolt in it and bent that around it, because it's got a little bit of a curve in it there. And then I took another piece of angle iron, flipped it upside down, and you can see what I did there. Same thing, just cut it off. Now, the way this works is this piece will bolt on to here, like so. And okay, that's just a long 3/8 bolt. Nothing spectacular. All right, now you could, if you wanted to, you could weld this bolt in here and have it stick out the front where it goes to the alternator. It goes to the alternator bracket there. But I just left it unwelded, that way if I ever have to replace it. The other thing you have to do is on some of these Chevrolet pickups that have the spacer that goes behind them, you have to cut about 150 thousandths off the back, and then add what you cut off the back, add it to the front. Now, I didn't do that. I just used washers, but you need to cut approximately 150 thousandths off of the back of the spacer. What you can do is just set the alternators side by side, and then where the bolt goes through it, you can just measure. Here, I'll show you. Follow me, Misty. So you can see the difference here, and it's roughly 150 thousandths, 120 to 150. I measured it with the calipers, and it was right at about 120, 130 thousandths. So anyway, but that's what you have to cut off of that spacer. Now you can take that piece if you got something thin to cut it with, and then put it, like, cut it with a bandsaw, and put that back on the other side, or just use some washers, simply to keep your bolt from bottoming out. All right, so we got that part done. Now we will continue. All right, and I'm gonna We're going to cut it right now, and then when we come back, I'll show you when I have it mounted. Okay, so we're back with our little late model alternator, LS1 type alternator on an old GMC pickup. So I've seen a lot of stuff on YouTube. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and there's a couple different ways you can wire this, but the easiest way is this way right here. If you don't have an idiot light in the dash, because the way that, what are you laughing at? What?
Keep on going.
You tell me what you're laughing at. What are you laughing at?
The idiot light.
Well, that's what it is. Because if you're an idiot, the light comes on. In the old days, we had oil pressure. Instead of having oil pressure gauges, they put idiot lights in cars because it was cheaper. And usually by the time the idiot light came on and said oil, usually the motor was blowed up. So anyway, can we do this now?
Yes.
All right. So you can buy this little adapter right here at AutoZone or O'Reilly's. However, I recommend you buy it on Amazon because it's about $37 for that stupid little thing, which you get for like $5 on Amazon or eBay. And you only need one wire. You need, I cut these off so I can tape them and they won't, whatever. But you need this wire right here. So if you're facing the alternator, this is the alternator. You need this wire right here, which would be the second one from the right facing the alternator. And that is what's going to energize the alternator. Now, you put this on keyed ignition. However, you need to put a resistor on it.
Keep on going.
Would you stop? Anyway, you need a 470 ohm resistor. Now, I don't know what genius figured this out because pretty much anything from 100 ohms to I don't know, all the way up to about 600 ohms will work. But 470 ohms seems to be the standard procedure. So I've used everything. I've even used like a 40 ohm resistor before. It just has to have a resistor in it. Okay. So if you don't know where to get a resistor at, well, you don't need to be doing this anyway. Just in my humble opinion. So they sell them at Radio Shack. I know Radio Shack's out of business now or whatever. So find an electronics place and a Fry's if you got one of them, or what's that big computer store? Micro Center, they've got them. Is something funny? Okay, so I'm not going to give you a soldering lesson. So let me show you the other thing. So what you're going to do is you're going to put the resistor in line with the keyed power for your old alternator. So if you look at this plug right here, now if you notice, I just noticed a problem with the wire that I had. But on the old style GM alternators, you have one that jumps to the hot all the time terminal, and then you have one that goes to the key. Well, you don't need that anymore. So we're going to cut it off right there, and this is your old plug. You don't need this wire anymore. You do, however, need the one that goes to the battery, or in this case, mine goes straight to the battery. In some cases, they go down to the starter, to your hot wire. So you do need that, and it still bolts in the same spot on the back, just like every other alternator, and that's where you get your electricity from. That's where you get your power from. So, okay. So you're going to attach this resistor in line with the old wire, the old keyed wire, which would be whatever the hell I did with it. I don't know where I put it now. Where did I put that plug, Misty? Oh, how about that one right there? I'll use this one until I find the other one. So anyway, yes, you put it in line with that wire, which is your keyed wire. If you don't know which one it is, you can get a test light and turn the key on and off and figure it out. So now, I'm not going to show all this on cam because there's a million videos on how to heat shrink and solder and all that. I'm just going to do it. So anyway, this goes to a keyed switched position, okay? And so I'll come back whenever I get that done. All right, we're back. So I got the alternator put on there. I got it wired in. If I don't know, got the, like I said, you just need to use this wire right here that I have my finger on right here. It'll be the second from the right to the left, and then put that 470 ohm resistor in it. I got that heat shrunk and heat shrunk up and in there, and the resistor is right in here. And then I taped it up. So I mean, it's like no big deal. Whatever, however you have to do it, whatever. Just make sure that you got that some sort of a resistor in there. Okay, and then now I guess we'll do the big test here. Here you go, Misty. Oh, I'll also keep this plug. Keep it on hand. Put it in the truck or whatever. That way, if you ever break down and you're away from home and you can't find one of these alternators here, you can always go back to the old style simply by splicing this wire back in and putting this back on the back of the alternator. We haven't done anything other than where we cut the adapter down at the bottom, the spacer at the bottom. You just have to put the washers or the other half of that spacer that you cut off, put it back on there with the bolt to get the spacing right. But other than that, I mean, that way you can run either alternator. But this is far superior alternator than the old GM ones. All right, so I'm gonna fire this thing up, and we're gonna do some voltage checks. Right now, we're sitting at right at 12, like 1240.
Do you want me to get in there?
Yeah, go ahead and start it, Misty. Charging a little over 14 volts. Wonderful alternator. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I think that thing's like a 120 amp alternator. I don't remember which one that one is, but it's definitely a better alternator than that came with the truck. I think it had a 75 or 90 amp alternator or something. Anyway. Alright, kill it, Misty. And you can see the voltage drop back down. So, that's it in a nutshell. So thanks for watching, and I guess until next time, you got anything to say, Misty?
Peace.